Morning. It is Friday. It is the Friday Grief Chat. It is Deb's birthday month. I'm Jill. That's
I'm Deb, and Jill just sent these flowers to me.
yep. I love Instacart birthdays. They are the best.
That you've given me a new idea. I can't wait to use that.
Instacart's awesome, and you can do same day delivery. Or I actually ordered yours last night. I have the chocolate,
Yes.
but there's so many things, right?
I know. I know. I
Who
know.
knew that you could order that kind of stuff from Aldi's? I didn't, but I thought about it.
Oh man. This is from Aldi's. This is
No,
even
that's
better.
from
This is
Costco.
Costco, but from
Right.
Aldi's too. Oh, I love Aldi's.
Aldi's had a blow up rainbow unicorn sprinkler, but I didn't want to give you something you had to blow. So I thought that was mean.
Do you know? Well, we can talk about that later, but I got that one year.
See, we think
See?
alike. When you got grief people who are a little bit, yeah, that humor part, we
We're
do it,
there.
right?
You know, Jill, you brought up and took me down memory lane. Like after a loved one that has always celebrated your birthday, you know,
How do you do it
I
after
got
they're
to tell you
gone?
what I did.
What'd you
This
do?
was, because my mom, all right, I know I live in the Midwest, but my mom knew, and I used to go for seafood for my birthday. I mean, at age 7, I was a lobster girl.
You're a
I
good
lo-
girl.
I loved lobster. My parents would take me out for lobster. And then down the road, after dad died and stuff, we went for all you could eat crab legs, which wherever we were, they lost money on me. And my brother's birthday is a week after mine. Exactly. And so we would clean house of crab legs. But then my first birthday without my mom, I was like, I was both confused and I didn't know what to do.
It's
I just,
disorienting to have a tradition and a big day and a vacuum all at the same time.
it, it was, and I didn't know what to do. So I said, well, is it dishonoring her if I eat? And this is, 20 something, this is 1998. So what, about 25 years ago. And I'm like, should I eat crab legs and toast her? Not a crab legs in a toaster, but eat, you know what I mean? I was like, what should I do? So I think Daryl went with me and I said, I'm going to have crab legs in honor of my mom. And I think I did that for a couple of years.
Mhm.
And eventually it transformed. I could be with friends and things like that. But it was a while for that holiday to be
It is.
something else.
And a birthday really is a holiday because you're celebrating I made it to another year.
Exactly.
It is, to me, it makes me crazy when I hear people say, I don't want to say how old I am. Oh, heck no. I got there,
Yeah.
right? I'm there and I'm going to be there and you're going to know how old I am because darn it, next year is 60 and I made it to 60, right? That's important.
Exactly. That's a big one.
That's not an ashamed thing. Every year you get is a very good day and a very good year, right? Yeah, I
That's
remember Linda used to send me out for my birthday to go, partly because she was a nurse, right? So that was my day to take the day off and just go shop for myself, usually for earrings at little boutiques. And then I would come home and share my findings and she'd have dinner. And the first year after she died, the family had dinner ready for me. And I tried to go out and go shopping and it just didn't fit anymore because I didn't have that expectation. Even though
Mm-hmm.
my family was waiting for me and ready to celebrate me, it was just not the same because you get that disorienting, now what? How does this fit? Right? And if you've
That's
got
right.
families who have dementia, the person with dementia usually forgets birthdays, right? So last year
Mm-hmm.
for birthdays, when I was doing birthday cards, and early this year with my mom for my nieces and my kids and my sister, even, she signed her name Margaret instead of mom or grandma. So she clearly didn't get who she was writing the card for. And
Right.
that, I still gave them the cards because it was her signature and there was some care to it, but it's that something's changed. Something dramatic has changed because of the coming loss.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just, it's such an odd feeling,
Of empty.
especially, I think, I mean, it's always an odd feeling
Mhm.
when a significant other is gone from your inner circle of family.
Your daily life.
Yes, your daily life. And when both parents are gone and there's no parental figure in your life. Well, I used to get attached to I always have moms, right? There's somebody older that wants to take care of me, right?
Right?
So, but to not have that parental figure, I was it's it's just different, and until it happens to you, you don't know the depth of how it feels.
And
That's
until
not to
you
say,
have to become the parental figure.
oh my God. Well, yes. And sometimes, especially with dementia, you become the parental figure, and
Long before.
your yes, and the adult who has dementia becomes the child.
Right.
And nothing prepares you for it completely. You
Mm-mm.
can read it's almost like a um, brain plasticity, neuroplasticity type of experience,
It
right?
is. It is.
Yeah,
It's adapting, it's integrating, it's all those things. So, and that's
yeah,
why I put up this because I'm taking advantage of your birthday so that people will start, so we can have the conversation about what do you do when someone has died or someone is dying and that's its birthday
yeah.
or any
It's
other
like
important day.
these,
What do you do?
it's. I knew your mom was dying. Worried about your birthday, she was dying,
Right.
right? Because
Hmm.
you're in May.
I'm in
May.
May. She started going downhill in March, April.
Yes.
April,
Yeah,
so she
yeah,
flew home
yeah.
from Europe in a hurry, and then she
Right.
died in June. Yeah, she was on a downhill trajectory.
And I remember I wanted to hold off sending a gift.
Mhm.
And I said, I'm just going to wait this out. I mean, knowing you, I don't think you were going to be mad or
Oh, not a
disappointed.
chance.
You didn't, no, no. And so the, but to acknowledge it, say, do you say happy birthday when you know the other person is like on the other spectrum of actually happy? I say birthday blessings.
Mhm.
Um, so I don't have to always say happy birthday.
Right.
And, it's
It's almost verging on that, may their memory be a blessing.
yeah, yeah, right. May your birthday inspire them to remember a teeny bit more for that day.
Right?
Um, and but yet you want to acknowledge it. It's like when people die on Christmas.
Or right
When
before or whatever. Yeah, when you're surrounding an important day,
Right.
That
Or
day can become tainted, or it can become part of the memory and the celebration.
my my mom died on the Jewish calendar of Purim. That
Oh
was the
my.
day. Yeah, so she died, when people are doing the crankings and eating Hamantaschen.
Yes.
That's how I remember. Yay, we beat the tricolored hat. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
but
Linda,
when,
Linda had her birthday the month before she died. Her birthday was March 14th and she died on April 2nd. And I remember being it, and she was completely aware because she was dying of pulmonary fibrosis and she was young. So there was no brain fade. She was completely aware it was her birthday coming up. So
Mhm.
I'm in Hallmark trying to find a card. Like, there are no birthday cards in the category of happy birthday, you're dying. This is I can't wish you a good year because you're not going to get a year.
Right,
I can't do that
right.
stuff. That none of this makes sense. And I walked up
Ex-
to the woman at the counter and I said, so here's the deal. I need a card that fits for someone that you can't say and many more happy returns. And she said, well, why wouldn't you? I said, because she's going to be dead. Right. We got maybe 2 months left and it's her birthday next week. I need something for that. And she's like, yeah, maybe a blank card. That's no fun. And what do you do for a birthday gift? Right. I settled on a yellow rose bush, planted it outside the window where her hospital bed was going to be. And
mhm.
it lived beyond her.
You know, I want to add to this that when my friend Harold, we knew he was most likely going to die uh, in the next couple months. And he had called me in September to come see him. He actually lived a little past his birthday, but we decided while I was out there that we should celebrate his birthday early.
Nice.
And this is when you get to make certain decisions, when you see life differently. Because some people say it's not your birthday till it's your birthday. There's a lot of Make-A-Wish kids that have Christmas in July. They
There
won't be
are.
here for Christmas. So how can we do Christmas for these children? Because they want to talk to Santa one more time.
We
You
did
don't
that. We
say
had a
to a,
fire truck deliver Santa to a child who was dying in October.
that's right. That's
Mhm.
exactly
The
right.
entire fire department came out with Santa Claus on top.
I wasn't even dying, but I was sick of, I was just really, I had enough of my birthday being in July, and certain members in the family are like, we don't care. And so I said, that's it. I'm switching my birthday to October. And Daryl's mom, she was in her 80s, and she said, okay, I'll remember this one, but you can't switch any more holidays. And so actually, my birthday went back to being in July. And then I had to cancel my big 50th because she was dying. And it was my birthday, and she was in hospice, and she looked at me, and she's, underneath the mask, and she goes, mouth, happy birthday. It's like she still knew what day it was. She knew, and she died a week later or so.
Now that's a memory
And
to hang on to.
yeah, yeah, and
Happy
I
birthday
am,
blessing.
because
Yeah.
it just, it, that's all you can do. I did a cremation, letting go of the ashes ceremony. distributing the ashes ceremony on the weekend. And I've never done this before. I was in a parking lot, and that's where I did the service, because then we walked down the boat ramp and let the ashes go into the river. And anyway, I said to everybody, life is about making memories. That's what life is for the stories, really. You know, the moment passes, but the memory lives on. And when those memories go, well, you know, that's different.
You know, and that's where several of my girlfriends group have lost parents recently, and two of us lost moms on the same day. And so we've been talking about, we've got one who's got a mom-in-law who's going into long-term care. So her house is being sold. They're going through everything. So three of us are doing the sort stuff now and the sort pictures now. And one of them said, I'm going to take the pictures that represent the stories, and I'm going to turn them into one of those bound books on one of the programs online. And I'm going to, on the page opposite the picture, I'm going to tell the stories, the family lore, so that they can, and there can be one for each kid. And that way those stay. And then we have a dear neighbor who used to own the house that I own now. And she's taken to every Christmas writing up several family stories from her childhood and several stories about the kids in their childhoods, and then binding them into notebooks. So, and giving them to everybody in the family, all of her kids, all the grandkids. So everybody will have those. So even though there's some, okay, we're aging, both parents are now as old as my mom was, clearly an end is coming. We're going to make sure that we're still celebrating who we were and who we are and who you guys will be long after we are gone, with these gifts that we're doing, which I just love.
Yes. I love that. You know what I did this birthday? I had one piece of jewelry left that really had historical and monetary value. It was my mom's wedding ring. And I decided I was giving it to my daughter on my birthday. And that's what I did. She's not getting married.
It's a Hobbit birthday.
Yes. I gave her the ring. And that made me feel really good.
I'm glad.
To let go of one more piece of my mother's. Mm-hmm. And also just to let go. One less thing.
Yep, we're in the middle of that. My dad was a rock hound, so I spent my childhood out every time we went camping in the summer, which was a good 3 to 6 weeks each summer. We hit all the places, all the agates, all the jasper, all the everywhere. Right? Looking at the ground, not looking up. Bringing home the treasures. And some of these rocks are now in my backyard. They're starting to migrate over. But we have his jewelry because he did slice the rock and make the lapidary jewelry and make the settings. And so now it's figuring out who gets what and making sure it gets distributed with the stories of where we found it. One Christmas for his staff, he was the graduate dean at UC Riverside. He made everybody these beautiful necklaces that were deep green and deep blood red, just gorgeous, very Christmassy. That's dinosaur dung. Fossilized dinosaur poop. He thought it was the best ever, right?
That is so great.
Things, it's the distributing of those things, the letting go.
But
sharing the stories like you did with your daughter.
Yeah,
now we could find my mom's wedding ring. Yeah, she hid it. We can't find it.
You know what? You will.
Yep. We're working on it.
You know, I hate to sound like what was the name? Citizen Kane. And remember at the very end of the movie, he said, Rosebud. And nobody knew what he meant, except it was the sled he had as a kid.
Yep.
My mother, it wasn't the last sentence, but one of the last sentences she said was, "Look in the linen closet." And we took that linen closet apart, and we couldn't find any of the jewelry. After she died, and there's lots of people staying at the house, so you got to get out all the towels. Folded in between the towels in a gym bag that my brother stole from somebody in high school was all her jewelry.
Oh my gosh.
I know. And my brother and I just split it up right there.
Wow.
So,
yeah, I'm sure we will. We packed up her china this week. My sister packed the china this week to go to my nephew who's getting married. So Isaac and Cheryl will have grandma's china. But I'm sure at some point we'll find it. If anyone has found treasures in your house after someone died,
good for them.
Where we'd love to have some ideas, right?
Well, I am going to tell you any kind of cedar chests and any kind of chests, and check in between towels, and also check in the deep, dark recesses of any closet.
She actually had books made into hidey holes. They weren't books anymore. Empty, right? Because, dementia. But that's neither here nor there. So if we're going to give our listeners some ideas for how they can celebrate themselves even when they are grieving, how they can celebrate a loved one's birthday after they're gone, what kind of things would you put out there? We each have our ideas.
So for me is go ahead and celebrate without them. And if you absolutely can't, at least buy a white rose and sit it up someplace, because I always think that reminds you of your ancestors, a white rose. And if you don't want a white rose, but your mother loved, daisies, buy some daisies. Or if your father, take something out of a cabinet and put it there in place. Put it where you would normally see that, not locked up in a cabinet. Invite the ancestor, sort of like Coco, right? You invite your ancestor to be present around you. And if you don't want to do that, light a candle.
Carefully.
Yeah. Yes. She says from Knowledge this week.
She says from Fire City over here.
Yeah. What's some of your ideas?
Some of the ways that I celebrate folks after they are gone is because we have a beach. You have rivers, we have beach. I like to go to the beach when I can get away. I haven't been terribly good about carving out time in the last few years, so I am making a promise to myself that I will carve time from here on out, and go spend those days by the waves, because everybody I've ever loved has also loved the beach. I have taken those days to scatter ashes in places that mattered to them. I have not done a birthday party, although I have clients who actually do birthday parties on those days. But I have done, a special meal that would be something they would have enjoyed. And I shared that meal with others so that they know that's something they would enjoy. Right. I think for Stacy's dad this year, we're going to need to go to an all-you-can-eat crab legs place, probably in Laughlin, because that's their family tradition, and clean the place out. Right. There's all kinds of different ways that we're having to navigate it this next year, because all the birthdays except my older sisters are done for our family. But next year it'll be all the birthdays without mom for the first time. although mom wasn't really present this year, next year it'll be all the how do we do this and how do we make sure that the kids are feeling remembered too. Mary Siegler says, my husband was dying in the hospital on my last birthday. He died 2 days later. We went out to eat to celebrate my husband's birthday this week. I'm so glad, Mary. And Mary is
Yes.
Linda's cousin. We lost track of her for many years, and she found me after Linda died. She's surviving in the heat right now in Texas, Oklahoma area.
Oh, oh.
Blazes there too.
I have a question, Jill. When your mom did not have dementia, what did you do to celebrate your birthday?
Growing up,
Yeah.
it was a shared birthday because my little sister was born on the 17th and I was born on the 21st. So we had shared birthdays from the time I was 3 onward, much to my chagrin.
I bet.
Yes. And so mom would do the homemade birthdays, but she really did them. We had one infamous one. Do you know the book, The Teddy Bear's Picnic?
Yes.
She made a teddy bear's picnic. If we have young moms or grandmas listening, she went to the store and got a bunch of cardboard boxes and spray painted them and made cubbies of various configurations, and everyone was instructed to bring their teddy bear. And she put picnic blankets on the lawn under our mulberry tree. And we had a teddy bear's picnic, and she played the song on the piano and made the cupcakes with the teddy bears. It was, I do remember it. My sister does not. But it was kind of the infamous teddy bear's picnic party. And later we did sleepovers. So they would have sleepovers for 2 girls at the same time. So 20 crazy girl children running around.
God bless your mom.
Right. I don't know how they put us up. I was older, so we got to use the camper. So that was cool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
friends were
Yeah.
in the front yard and little sister was trapped in the back. So yeah. And as adults, we would do dinner with her. In recent years, she really didn't want to go out much, which makes sense with dementia. So we would celebrate at home. And for her birthday, we always celebrated at home because she was a New Year's Eve baby. And you can't celebrate New Year's Eve. And for my dad, we would celebrate because his was the day after New Year's and everyone else had hangovers except us. So, you know, and everything was after Christmas. Yeah, we didn't drink. Our family was not a drinking family.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, there was no alcohol in the house. So, yeah, we just did birthday cakes at home and dinners at home. It was very small, very homey, not the big productions. Grammy always showed up for the grandchildren's birthdays.
Oh.
Yeah. What about you?
Well, for my birthday, we always had seafood of some sort at a restaurant. Mom didn't cook seafood at all. For my mom's birthday, I think she wanted to be alone, away from kids. So Dad usually took us out someplace, I think. But, you know, when my mom turned 60, I threw her a surprise party. And when she turned 65, I threw her a surprise party. And I think I may have thrown her a birthday party, like about every 5 years. I surprised her somehow. I always love pulling one over on Mom. It was just that was what I like to do. But my dad, he worked 6 days a week and we only had Sundays with him. So yeah. So I don't really remember, my dad, maybe he went and got steaks or something like that. I always made cards or, those kinds of things. And my brother.
Birthday cards.
What?
Did you find all the birthday cards shared after they were gone?
No. I found love letters from when he was in Korea.
Oh.
And my brother found the love letters. He recently gave them to me. A tradition that my kids will find right? And my whoever cleans out is Daryl did it this year, and we do it every year. We just go through our stash of cards, change birthday from Valentine's. We keep recycling cards. So there's all these and then I had bought some cards for people's birthday this year, and Daryl put in a card and he didn't sign it. It was pretty funny. And I said, "Did you take that from up here and not sign it so I could use it?" And he goes, "Uh-huh." So there's like 6 or 7 cards. So you keep going through and you don't know what holiday is being changed to say birthday. That's what we do, he and I.
We may have to adopt that tradition, because I've now got a stash of cards that, those cards that have the signatures that you're never going to see again. So you got to hang on to a certain number of them because the signature, right?
Right.
That kind of thing. That's important. So we may use those.
Dear, I do want to say that for many years after my dad died, and it seems like the littlest thing, but my dad had written a note to himself, probably, in the old days when you brought pants to a cleaner and they cleaned them, they folded cardboard and stapled it over a regular hanger.
Right.
Right? I must have kept for 15 years that hanger. That was, it was, and it mattered to me.
Right.
And I wouldn't let anybody else use that hanger.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, I encourage all our listeners and those later on the podcast to just, you go ahead and keep what matters to you. You may never, or you may sooner than later, let that go either to somebody else or the landfill. It doesn't matter.
But on your schedule, not somebody else's.
Not somebody else's schedule. I don't care who says, a husband or whatever, aren't you going to let go of that thing? No, as a matter of fact, and shut up.
And if someone needs it to be a fast schedule and needs help sorting and getting stuff out, you don't get to criticize that either.
No.
If they just need everything out and stored for a bit, go help them do that.
Yeah.
Your grief, your way, your rules, your time frame.
Absolutely.
That's how it works. And time frame, we are up.
Yeah.
All right, everybody.
12:53.
We will see you next week when it's still going to be hot, and but we'll get together and talk about what it's like to get through the heat, and we'll find some other topics about grief and loss to talk about. And if you have some to send to us, we'll be happy to talk about them.
That sounds great.
If you're celebrating someone's birthday this week, find a way to do it in a way that matters. If it's your birthday, we wish you all the best. And please remember, it is Deb's birthday month. So all the wishes on the site, those are awesome, especially if they're rainbowy, unicorny, a little bit crazy, or have a red nose. Do that too. For all of those of you who were at Comic-Con San Diego and doing superhero grief, we wish you all the best. Jill Harrington, I hope it goes well. And Debbie Jenkins Frankel, keep your garden alive. It's too hot. All right. Shall we do our... Everybody,
hold, bring it in, take a breath, breathe out. Easy breathings to all.
And stay cool.
Stay cool. Bye-bye.